Hey everyone, what's up? It's Jeremy Kruis here. Henna and I just got back from a project that we filmed on a different island here in the Philippines, and it's our first time flying in almost a year. Here in the Philippines, things are so strict, so even just flying to a different island, we had to get so many different requirements to go there. So this video, I'll just be talking about our experience of flying domestically here in the Philippines, and I'll talk about all the requirements we had to get. So hopefully this video is a little bit insightful for you, but just take it with a grain of salt because the requirements seem to be changing pretty quickly, and everyone's experience in getting their documents is different as well. So first off, I'm just gonna list the requirements that Henna and I had to get. We had to get barangay clearance, medical certificate, COVID shield or travel authority, the work order, proof of employment, negative rt-pcr swab test, an acceptance letter from the local government, a travel itinerary, confirmed hotel booking, and confirmed airline ticket booking. Most of these requirements, we just went to the barangay hall and figured it out from there. So if I were you and you're wondering about all these requirements, I would go to your local barangay hall and ask them how you can get all of these requirements, and also do some searching online because it seems to be a little bit different for each barangay or location that you're in. One of our biggest hurdles was the swab test. So our flight was 6:30 a.m. on a Thursday, but we went to get our swab test the day before that. We ended up finding a laboratory run by the airport called the Philippine Aviation Diagnostic Laboratory, because our airline had a partnership with them. But when we arrived there and asked them about the 24-hour test, they said it wouldn't arrive on time because our flight was within 24 hours. So we had to pay extra to get the 12-hour results test, and that cost $6,200 each, so quite expensive. The experience there was okay. The staff were nice and friendly. It was pretty smooth, but they had told us our results would come in our email at 8 p.m. that night, and our flight would be 6:30 a.m. the next morning. At 8 p.m. rolled around, no email. We decided just to wait another hour, maybe it'll come an hour later. Still didn't come. So we started to call every number that was on their website, on Google, on Facebook and everything. No answer, no way to get through to them. So we just kept trying to contact them somehow, looking for people that work there. We still didn't get through. So it was midnight and Henna and I just decided, well, let's just go to sleep and we'll see what happens in the morning. So we kind of just left it up to chance whether we were gonna go or not. Thankfully, when we woke up in the morning, our results had arrived at 1 a.m. and that was really frustrating because the results came late, a lot later than 12 hours. So if you happen to be getting your test there at the pad lab, you're gonna want to make sure you get some workers' personal phone number so that you can contact them just in case your results weren't emailed to you on time. That was quite a scare for Henna and I, but we made it. So now I'm gonna talk about the actual travel, what it was like to go through the airport and the flight, and did they check all our requirements and everything. That morning we left our house around 3:30 a.m. just to be sure. We took a Grab car. Henna and I haven't taken a Grab car during the pandemic, so this was the first time as well. Basically, there's just a plastic shield dividing the front driver's seat and the back seat where the passengers are. Our terminal at Manila International Airport was Terminal 3, and when we got there were some lines at the first few gates, so we decided to enter through the last gate where there was no line at all. The guard there checked our requirements right away, and we were able to go in through the first security check, because here in the Philippines you have a security check just to enter the airport. One thing I should mention is we had all our requirements, all our documents in a clear book folder to keep it all organized. So whenever we had to present it to the guard or anyone that wanted to see our requirements, it was really easy for them just to open the book and look through our requirements. So I'd recommend really organizing your documents when you travel. Once inside the airport, it was pretty empty. I mean, there wasn't a lot of people, which was kind of weird to see. We had checked in online, but we still had to go to the electronic check-in booths to print our check-in bag tags. And then there was someone there that helped us attach the bag tags, and then we still had to go in the check-in counter line so that we could drop off our check-in bags. The line was pretty physically distanced. Everyone was physically distanced, which was nice. And then we arrived at the counter, and the attendant there checked all our requirements pretty thoroughly. And specifically for Henna and I, she checked our proof of employment because Henna and I were doing work in Cebu. Thankfully, Henna and I recently got our business registrations as freelancers from the BIR. So that's what we showed her for our proof of employment. And after she checked through everything, she gave us the go signal, and then we went through the second security check. The security check was pretty normal, except you couldn't take off your mask or face shield. So throughout this whole airport experience, we have to keep on your mask and face shield. Once we entered the boarding gate area, again, there was not a lot of people. A lot of the restaurants were closed, a lot of the shops were still closed, and it was kind of nice not having so many people at the airport, but also kind of just weird seeing it like that there's not that much business happening at the airport. Upon boarding, we had to fill out like a health declaration form and submit that, and then they just checked our ID and boarding pass upon boarding. The plane wasn't too full, but it doesn't seem like they have any strict physical distancing requirements on the plane. And then I slept pretty much the whole flight, 1.5 hour flight, because we woke up so early that morning. And then we arrived in Cebu. Now, usually here in the Philippines, when a plane arrives and stops at the gate, everyone kind of just stands up, and it's pretty chaotic inside the plane. Everyone's trying to grab their bags, try to rush to the door to get out of the plane. Well, what's really nice now is that the flight attendants really made a point to dismiss people by rows. So, like for example, only the first 3 rows could stand up, get their bags and go, and then the next rows, and then so on and so forth. So it was a lot more organized getting off the plane now, which was nice. We got our bags at the baggage claim. We were about to head out of the airport, and then a guy stopped us and said, "Hey, wait, you have to go through that counter first." So we had to line up, and then at the counter they asked us for our acceptance letter from the local government. They looked at it and just sent us along. So that was pretty quick, and then we were out of the airport and we had someone pick us up there. Now, the project that we were filming in Cebu, in Cordova, Cebu, is about inclusiveness for people with disabilities during natural disasters. So making sure that people in wheelchairs can get rescued, or there's procedures for that. You know, for blind people, they need to be able to hear warning signs. For people that are deaf, they need to be able to have visual warning signs, stuff like that. From the airport, they took us to our hotel, which was a really nice hotel, and we got for quite a discounted price because I think they don't really have a lot of business right now. And so that's one of the perks of traveling right now. Hotels have a lot of discounts. After we checked in at the hotel, we spent the rest of the day filming for the project, as well as the next day we spent the whole day filming for that project. And the last interview of the day, Henna interviewed the mayor of Cordova, which was really cool. And after the interview, she asked us if we had been to Cordova before. And then we said, no, it's our first time. And so she invited us the next morning to go to another island, to take her speedboat to another island. So we were like, okay, but we need to catch our flight in the afternoon. She said, oh no, it's okay. So the next morning we woke up kind of late, and the assistant of the mayor contacted us and said, hey, are you still interested in going? We said, okay, but we need to be back before 12 because we need to catch our flight. And so they said okay, and we ended up going to the pier, and 2 rescue guys from the local government took us on their little speedboat to the island. It was only about a 10 to 15 minute boat ride there, but the water was so nice, so clear. We were not prepared to go swimming at all, but we just had to because the water was so nice and a lot of corals. I wish we really could have spent a lot more time there if we were prepared. We were pretty much the only ones in the water there, and kind of weird to see because they said usually it's just crowded with tourists there. That could be another perk for traveling right now is, you know, tourist spots are really not that crowded. We ended up spending probably only 15 minutes swimming there because we had to go back and catch our flight. So we went back, went to the hotel, checked out, and then we went back to the airport in Cebu. At the airport in Cebu, no one checked their requirements. We never had to show any requirements to get on the flight. We went through security and checked in just like normal. Upon boarding, all they did was check our boarding pass and ID. Now the plane was full. It was fully packed. There was no physical distancing at all. Every seat was filled. So that was kind of surprising, a little bit alarming. I thought that they would have, you know, maybe the seats empty in the middle to have physical distancing, but they did not. And then we arrived in Manila. We got our bags from the baggage claim and went outside. Again, there they did not check any of our requirements entering Manila. Once we got to the curbside, we were trying to book Grab car, but for some reason it just wasn't working. So we ended up asking the guard why Grab wasn't working, and he said that currently Grab isn't allowed to pick up people from the airport. And I think that's because they want the taxis to have a little more business. So we went to the taxi line, but it was so long, and then we asked some other taxis, but the price was about 3 times as much as it should be. So what Hen and I ended up doing was just like walking outside of the airport grounds. We've been walking pretty far now to get out of the airport zone so that we can book a Grab. Thankfully, we ended up finding a taxi there that could take us home. But that's something you should know, is that Grab does not pick up at the Manila International Airport right now. And so our trip was finished. Hopefully that was a little bit insightful for you, just to get sort of an idea of what traveling is like right now. I know the Philippine Tourism Board has a swab test that's 750 pesos that you can apply for through this link. So go there if you're interested in traveling, because that's a really good priced swab test. Right now, I think some of the biggest perks to travel is that flights are cheaper, hotels are cheaper, and there are not that many people traveling, so the tourist spots are not going to be crowded. So I think if you're interested in traveling, I would really recommend, you know, trying to pass all these hurdles of getting the requirements and just go for it. But I mean, just keep in mind to stay as safe as you can, wear your mask, wear your shield, whatever requirements that the local government requires, just try to follow that. But thanks so much for watching this. Hopefully that was helpful. Give this video a like if you enjoyed watching it, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy watching my videos. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.